the Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math Lab at Niles West High School. Walking down the bustling third-floor hallway, one might not expect there to be a large state-of-the-art lab, stocked with thousands of dollars worth of equipment and tools, which allows Niles West students to conduct high-level independent research. The first hint is the large poster hanging outside of the lab, celebrating the tremendous accomplishments of third-year science research student Felix Angelov, who recently was awarded with first place and best in category in the microbiology category at the International Science and Engineering Fair run by Intel. He also received an award in which he will be going to Israel for 1 month during the summer for an all-expense paid science research program at the Weizmann Institute in Israel. There are two parts to the STEM lab, one of which is the lab, the other being the classroom-style portion seen here, in which on any given day you will see Ms. Glasher or Ms. Via in the other class, and the students of the class collaborating to best plan and execute their research project, and to ultimately produce a polished paper detailing that work, and also poster boards to present at the different science fairs. The other portion of the room, the laboratory, houses all of the equipment, chemicals, and tools that students in biology, chemistry, physics, and engineering need to complete their research. Let's begin a tour of the lab. The piece of equipment seen here is the Dynac 3 centrifuge, used for spinning solutions, which allows the samples to settle at the bottoms of their respective tubes. In this case, the centrifuge is designed for large tubes containing milliliters as opposed to microliters of volume. These are micropipetters, which allow for the easy transferring of samples. These micropipetters can be set to various volumes, ranging from half a microliter to an entire milliliter. This piece of equipment is the UV Safe Imager, one purpose of which is to visualize the stained DNA bands of agarose gels. It can also be set to emit visible light. To run gels, there are two options, one of which is the Invitrogen gel box. The other is a plastic container in which researcher-made agarose gels can be placed. There are numerous voltage boxes to be used with the latter. This is another UV box. This is the thermal cycler, a machine which can be set to run a program which cycles through various predetermined temperatures. This allows for the running of polymerase chain reaction, typically abbreviated as PCR, which copies a specific region of the genome using specially designed primers. This is a different centrifuge, designed for tubes which contain a volume between 1 microliter and 2 microliters. This is a water bath, which is oftentimes called for in students' procedures. Samples are typically placed in floating styrofoam holders before being placed in the water, which can be heated to a user-defined temperature. These two machines, the bottom of which provides a rotating platform, the top being an additional water bath, have allowed students a makeshift solution when their procedures call for a spinning water bath. However, we have already received an actual spinning water bath, and it will be placed into the lab shortly. This machine is an autoclave, which can be set to a high temperature and pressure to sterilize samples and pieces of equipment. The STEM lab also contains a number of microscopes, which are typically attached to the computer and used with the Modic imaging software to visualize microscopic organisms like C. elegans and also other samples. This next piece of equipment is called a spectrophotometer. It applies a user-defined wavelength of light to samples. and based on the absorbance, will give, amongst other possible pieces of information, the concentration of the desired molecule. This is a container for ice. These are ice buckets. This commercial microwave has many purposes, one of which is the preparation of agar for use in bacterial plates and gel electrophoresis. We also have a commercial refrigerator and freezer. We also have 3 fume hoods, which provide closed workspaces for individuals working with harmful reagents. This machine allows students to take the mass of various objects out to 3 decimal places, which makes it more accurate than the other mass machines in other parts of the lab. These cabinets contain various beakers, flasks, and graduated cylinders. This machine is a rotovac, one purpose of which is the mixing of ethanol or various other biofuels. These metal rods allow for the attaching of clamps and various other materials to be used in physics and engineering projects primarily. This setup was put together specifically by one student in the STEM lab who has been testing the effects of a certain chemical on the behavior of cockroaches. This is a highly expensive physics table, which is frictionless, one use of which can be experiments involving lasers. This machine, called a microtome, allows for the cutting of molecules known as alkanes. This machine is a cell incubator. The other machine is a bomb calorimeter, which essentially explodes objects and tests how much energy, if any, is released. This cabinet contains flammable chemicals to be worked with under the fume hood. There are also many other different solid and liquid chemicals that are stored in various places around the STEM lab. Here is one more overall look at the STEM lab, from the back end of the room this time, all the way out to the classroom portion of the room. Some students in the STEM lab opt to do projects involving plants. These carts, which contain lights and have been covered, allow for this kind of research. These machines are incubators, used to house Petri plates containing bacteria. This is a UV light, which was used by a student this year who was looking at planaria and exposing them to this. This cabinet, although currently messy, has been used in the past for different kinds of experiments which require dark environments, one use of which was an experiment relating to the circadian rhythms of plants. This is a fume hood designed specifically for culturing and experimenting with cells. This is a deep freezer, which can be set to as low as approximately negative 110 degrees Celsius. Last but not least, there are many pieces of technology in the STEM lab to be used by students. There are dozens of laptops, a smartboard, and a plasma TV which was intended for communication between students and their mentors in various parts of the world via Skype. The mentor-student relationship is crucial to the science research class. It should be noted that the equipment shown is not all of what the STEM lab contains. However, the vast majority has been shown. Of course, there are hot plates and other pieces of equipment as well. Even more impressive, though, is the fact that if a chemical, tool, or piece of equipment necessary for a student's project is not currently in the STEM lab or elsewhere in the school is very likely to be able to order it. The STEM lab truly provides